Though I have seen number of great books, and when I see the fact that some invaders in some few centuries ago, they torched the great library of Nalanda, which was burning for 6 months. So what was there in that library? Coal, which was burning for 6 months. Library means what? It was full of books. And can you imagine the magnitude or number of those books which would have stored in that library? They were burning for 6 months. Can we imagine the amount of books that would have been stored over there in that library? We just cannot imagine that. Can you imagine the library of this SPA? If someone put some fire over there, within few hours it will go away. But imagine a fact which has been written by many people, that library was burning for 6 months. Is it possible without any kind of documentation? But now people they simply pass a remark that India had no tradition of documenting their knowledge. So simply they can say that. And they are supposed to be great scholars of this today's country. But we are gone so away from our past that even today Indians feel that there was nothing much in our past. So that is how British could get that success by obliterating our faith in our great past. And what they did, they tried to impose their identity on Indians. So if you can go back and look at the history written by great British historians about this imperial story of Britain, so you will find many fascinating things, how they have described this entire story. There is one famous historian, the most famous was Macaulay. Macaulay has written one great book, History of England. But immediately after this book, 30 years after that, there was a historian called Seeley, and he has narrated for the first time in the history of Britain, the history of British imperialism. So the name of that book which he has chosen, words he has chosen, is The Expansion of England. So what he has said precisely, it was not an attack or expanding or occupying different lands, but what he has said, this entire process was nothing but a kind of expansion of England. So he has clearly written the objective of British imperial endeavor was to spread British ideas and ideals in different parts of this world. Let us try to understand this idea. What was their objective? To transport British ideas and ideals in different parts of the world. And what he has said precisely, it is this entire process is nothing but expansion of England. So if you go to America, then just exactly on the opposite bank of England, after this Pacific Sea, what you will find? New York, New Jersey. Jersey is a small province in England. The same people who migrated from that part of England to this new world, they started saying that particular territory where they got settled as New Jersey. Yorkshire is a part of England. From there people moved to America and they started calling as New York. The similar things you will find in New Zealand and Australia also. Similar things. So their idea was to expand the boundaries of England. That was their idea. So even today in our country, people had the same vision or dream about progress of our country. I am from Mumbai, and for many years I have worked in that coastal region of Maharashtra, that is called as Konkan. So when I used to many villages and when I used to talk to common people, what they used to ask me? They used to ask me a particular question. They used to ask me, Jayant, कोकण का कैलिफोर्निया कब होगा? समझा आपको सभी को? कोकण का कैलिफोर्निया कब होगा? So I used to ask them, do you know where California is? What California is? And it's in which country this kind of name you will find? They have no such idea, but they say that there is something in the western part of this world, which is the most progressive land in this world. So even today in this Swatantra Bharat, our people, they are carrying this dream in their minds. Means they don't want to maintain this country as an India, but they want to become what? They want to become mere Westerners. So they want to transform their land as California, because California falls on the western part of US, and this Konkan is also on the western coast of our country. So that is the only similar kind of thing. But people say even today that, when we can transform this Konkan as California, so that is our dream. Even today, after passing 74 years of Swatantrata, what we dream today is this, unfortunately. Because British people have given us this idea that becoming a kind of progressive people in the world means what? To pick up Western ideas in life. To become Westerners, Europeans or Americans, Yankee kind of things. So that is what even today, the same dream is there in our mind, even today, unfortunately. So our entire education system, what we are teaching in this education system, Western knowledge. It is difficult to find a part of Indian knowledge system which is a part of our education system. Whatever we teach today to our generations, coming generations, is specifically Western knowledge only, and that too in this unfortunate language called as English. Very unfortunate part of it. So this is what has happened to our country, and all these things were done by science, because science could impress our minds that they are superior people. What they could achieve in their country is merely because of science and technology. So they are great people, they are superior to us. White man's burden. Whites are superior. So even today we carry that kind of impression in our mind. Whatever they say is right. Whatever we do, we need to get that authenticated from these people. And if they put their stamp, then we feel that yes, it is great thing. Without their stamp, we cannot even feel that, will this be right kind of thing? Means even today we carry that doubt in our mind. Without their authentication, nothing can be proved in this world, in the domain of knowledge. That is what is the reality today. So they could achieve this with the use of science, that we need to understand. So how they utilize science as a tool to subjugate this country, we need to understand this part of it first, and then next part comes that how our people, they started struggle against this kind of onslaught or invasion on our country. It was not economic or political invasion. It was a kind of invasion on our identity. So I have said this, denationalization, that was the process which they carried out, making Indians strangers in their own land. People will not remain Indians. They will never call them as Indians, or they will never take pride in calling them as Indians. So that is what they wanted to do in this country, and that entire process is called as imperialism or imperial process, to make or transform our country so that it will not remain as India. And entire struggle was to protect our Indianness, and that was carried out even in the domain of science. The first person in the domain of science who could realize this kind of invasion was Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar. As we all know that Kolkata was the capital of British people, because as I have said that they could gain that first victory in this land in Bengal only. So Kolkata became their natural capital for all kind of activities. So modern science also descended in our country in Kolkata, naturally. The first person who could realize this kind of game plan was Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar. He is the second MD of our country, because he was a student of a medical college established by British people in 1835 in England, in Kolkata. So he became a graduate, then he did his post-graduation also, and he was the second Indian to become MD in our country. And he was not only a student of medical science, he had great interest in physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, astronomy and many aspects or dimensions of science. He first time could realize that British people will not allow Indians to do science in this country. That was his realization. And for that he had a thought that there is a great requirement to establish scientific institution in our country to do science by Indians only. So he established Indian Association for Cultivation of Sciences in the year 1876, and even today if you visit the website of IACS, there are 4 specific words which we need to understand today. He has mentioned specifically, this is an institution which is solely native and purely national in character. Understand these concepts, 2 concepts, 2 ideas. Solely native means what? This institution is meant for Indians only. This was established by Indians only, and it was established by Indians for Indians to do science. So there won't be any intervention of British rule in this institution. So he never asked for funds from British government, the most kindest government in this land, British government. He never asked for such funds. He could collect donations from many great Indians, contemporary Indians, and he could establish this institute in 1876. First Swadeshi institution in the domain of science in the history of freedom struggle in our country. It is 9 years before the establishment of Congress, because Congress was established in 1885 in Mumbai, which normally people describe that was the greatest tool of Indians to fight against British rule. But this institution was established by Mahendralal Sarkar with this character in his mind, solely native and purely national. Understand, scientific institution having national character. So he established that institute, and the great Indian scientists, because of whom we could create the golden era of science of this country in the history, they could get or they could learn science through this institution. I will just give you few names. Jagdish Chandra Basu, Prafulla Chandra Ray, Ashutosh Mukherjee, Satyendranath Bose, Meghnad Saha, and the only Nobel Prize for science which Indian could get was Chandrasekhar Venkatraman, and he did his research work for 17 years in this institution only, because he was serving a revenue department of British rule in Kolkata. And Dr. Ashutosh Mukherjee, when he became president of this IACS, he could identify the talent of Chandrasekhar Venkatraman, who was working as an officer of revenue department, and he asked Chandrasekhar Venkatraman to spend his valuable time in doing research in physics in this institution before and after working hours of revenue department. He invited him as a professor of physics over there, and he said, you are not supposed to teach physics over here because you are going to do your kind of service for revenue department, but you are more interested in doing the research work in the domain of physics. So what I am allowing you to do research work before you go to your office and after office hours. So he kept doors of that institution open for Chandrasekhar Venkatraman, and he could get that great prize for India. And Chandrasekhar Venkatraman became first non-white person in the world to receive a Nobel Prize in the domain of science. Can you imagine this height? First non-white person to receive Nobel Prize in the domain of science was Chandrasekhar Venkatraman. That was the level of Indian science under British rule, and it was indigenously developed scientific institution. It was not funded by British people. So it was an entirely Swadeshi endeavor. British never helped Indians to grow in the domain of science. It was a sheer endeavor by Indians to do any kind of progress in this domain of science. We need to understand this fact. British never supported, they never encouraged Indians to do science. But what they were doing in this country from 1757 to 1857, first 100 years of British rule, when East India Company was a ruler, they established all kind of surveys. You must have heard of great many names of surveys. Geological Survey of India, Botanical Survey of India, Zoological Survey of India, Archaeological Survey of India, to distort history of this land. Anthropological Survey of India, to do some kind of research of Indians to prove that how they are inferior to white people. You can read great number of research papers on this topic. Recently I have read one book written by one Indian woman migrated to England. Her name is Angela Saini. In 2019, she has written a beautiful best-selling book that is having a title as Superior. And she has narrated a story of the history of genetic science and how Europeans and Western people are thinking to establish superiority of white people in this world through genetic science. We need to understand all these things. So, how science even today is being used to prove or establish superiority of Western people, even today. And she has given the very evidence-based kind of things, that how genetic science is being administered to prove or establish the superiority of white people. So we need to understand this, and our own people, they rose against this onslaught in the domain of science. And there are different stories from this institution, as I have told. Acharya Jagdish Chandra Basu, he was interested in physics. He went to England. He came back from England having degree in his hand from University of Cambridge and London University. And he could receive that degree with high distinction. And when he came back, the only opportunity as a career was to become a teacher of science. But in that era, this education service was segregated on racial basis. There were two parts of this education service. One part was known as Imperial Education Service and another part was Provincial Education Service. Only British teachers, they could be a part of that Imperial Education Service. And Indians only, natives only, they can teach anything under this service called as Provincial Education Service. Though both of them may be having similar kind of degrees or skills or knowledge, but there was a great difference between their salaries. Indians used to get 2/3 of the salary of that of British teacher, even though their degrees were at par with each other. So when Jagdish Chandra Basu came to this country, he returned back, came and he made an application to be a physics teacher in Presidency College. Naturally, the principal of Presidency College was British, and he rejected the application of Jagdish Chandra Basu by giving reason: Indians have no aptitude for exact methods of science. These are the words. What he said: Indians have no aptitude for exact methods of science. In other words, Indians have no ability to think in a rational manner. So he rejected Jagdish Chandra Basu's application. He would have said like this, no, Jagdish Chandra Basu has no aptitude for exact methods of science, because that application was made by an individual called as Jagdish Chandra Basu. So what was the logical response for that? Jagdish Chandra Basu, as he is having no aptitude for exact methods of science, we cannot allow him to teach physics in our institution. That can be a reasonable answer. But what he said, he made a sweeping remark by saying Indians have no aptitude for exact methods of science. See what kind of discriminatory ideas were there in British people's mind. They used to discriminate on the basis of race. Whites are superior, Indians are inferior. And the first biographer of Jagdish Chandra Basu, he was an Englishman who wrote Jagdish Chandra Basu's biography while Jagdish Chandra Basu was living. The first biography of Jagdish Chandra Basu was written by Patrick Geddes. I don't know whether SPA people have heard this name or not. But he has written first biography of Jagdish Chandra Basu, that too in 1920. Jagdish Chandra Basu died in 1937. See the great honor which he could receive in his lifetime. So Patrick Geddes is writing biography of Jagdish Chandra Basu, because Patrick Geddes was basically a kind of evolutionary biologist. Then he got transformed as a social scientist, and then he became great town planner of this entire world. I think SPA people would have heard his name. So Patrick Geddes was the first person to write biography of Jagdish Chandra Basu, and what Patrick Geddes writes about this entire episode, he says that Jagdish Chandra Basu could not accept this sheer injustice based on race, discrimination based on race. And Jagdish Chandra Basu initiated a new form of protest. Understand these words. He initiated a new form of protest by not accepting a single penny from British people as a salary. Today, we all call Mahatma Gandhi as a great initiator of Satyagraha. Satyagraha is what? Satyagraha is determined non-violent resistance against injustice. Can you follow this? Determined non-violent resistance against what? Sheer injustice. What Jagdish Chandra Basu did? He did this in 1884. History has recorded Gandhiji's first Satyagraha in 1917 at Champaran in Bihar. But what Jagdish Chandra Basu did? He initiated a new form of protest, which was, new means what? That was unknown to the world till that point of time. No one had that kind of idea that how we can confront this great discrimination by British government. So he initiated a new form of protest, a kind of resistance, which was entirely non-violent in character, but very much determined or resolved. He was a kind of unyielding person. He never yielded before British rule. And he started this kind of protest, resistance against British discrimination. And he did it not only for 1 day, 2 days. Today we understand people sit on fast. Immediately in the evening someone will give juice, and so fast will be over. Jagdish Chandra Basu did teaching of physics without accepting single paise as a salary by British government for 3 consecutive years. Can we imagine this? Person starting his career in his young days, when he was a married person. Even there are accounts in the pages of history that Abala Basu, a wife of Jagdish Chandra Basu, how she supported her husband in this protest. It's a great story. We need to understand this. Is it not a kind of sacrifice for our country? Because he was not fighting for injustice against an individual called as Jagdish Chandra Basu, because reason was given as what? Indians have no ability. So he wanted to prove that Indians can excel in this domain of science also. And he could prove himself after 3 years, and British government yielded before him, and they gave him salary for all the 3 years with retrospective effect. And he was successful in abolishing this discriminatory service in British era. Because of this protest, British had to surrender before him, and they stopped these 2 types of segregation of service, education service, as imperial and provincial. So we need to understand that how our Indian scientists started that struggle. It was a struggle in the domain of intellectuals, intellectual hegemony of British. They were supposed to rise against that. And there are many such incidences. British never allowed to do any kind of research work in our country. Jagdish Chandra Basu took up that challenge, and he started research work in our country in 1894. And within 1 year, he came out with a great discovery. Today we are using mobile phones. The credit should go to Jagdish Chandra Basu, because this first wireless communication was done or discovered by Jagdish Chandra Basu in 1895. Can we imagine this? Do we teach this great story, a success story, to our own children in our country? Never. We not even mention this in our textbooks. But this was done by Jagdish Chandra Basu way back in 1895. I could find one professor. Today someone was telling about JNU. Today JNU's Vice Chancellor, who is also from this land, this area only, Dr. Jagdish Kumar, he is one of the famous teachers of electronics in IIT Delhi. He says, whenever I start teaching semiconductor devices, I start with this, that first semiconductor device was developed by one Indian in our country, that too in 1895. Because that PN junction concept was proposed by Jagdish Chandra Basu, diode, rectifier. And he could successfully build that semiconductor material and that diode also for the first time in the world. So people say in the field of domain of electronics that Jagdish Chandra Basu was at least 60 years ahead of that of the Europe. They have accepted this. His ideas were 60 years ahead of that of Europe. Do we take pride in all these things? No. We do not even have simple idea about these things. And all these things were done in those adverse conditions. I know today's scientists, they ask for funds and they literally cry for that. They say without funds nothing can happen. But can we imagine this? There was no concept of fund in those days. Jagdish Chandra Basu put his own money to establish laboratory, and that laboratory of such